So this is the filth that was inside of the temple that needed to come out. Verse 11, and there stood before them 70 men of the ancients of the house of Israel, and in the midst of them stood Jazaniah the son of Shaphan, with every man his censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up. Verse 12, then said he unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark? Every man in the chambers of his imagery, for they say, the Most High seeth us not, the Most High has forsaken the earth. So not only are they performing abominations inside of the temple, and of course there's many levels of wisdom here, but I'm looking at it predominantly in a carnal sense, that they're also sending up a stinking smell to the Most High. It isn't the smell of pleasant incense, frankincense or myrrh, but a disgusting abomination, a disgusting smell to the Most High. And this is a metaphor for what is going on inside our bodies today. As we attempt to return to the Most High, we can examine these accounts in the Old Testament to understand how we can offer up the purest, sweetest smelling sacrifices to the Most High. As I've alluded to in previous lessons, and I'll continue to discuss in this lesson, the corruption and the defilement in our bodies in the form of parasites and toxins, all manner of flukes and worms and other abominable beasts inhabit our bodies and cause us to send stinking sacrifices up to the Most High. Ezekiel 8 and 12, then he said unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark, every man in the chambers of his imagery? For they say, the Most High seeth us not, the Most High hath forsaken the earth. Verse 13, he said also unto me, turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations that they do. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Most High's house, which was toward the north, and behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz. This is a reference to the mystery Babylonian religion, Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz, which is also mirrored in the predominant Edomite religion today. Ezekiel 8 and 15. Then said he unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations than these. And he brought me into the inner court of the Most High's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of the Most High, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men, with their backs toward the temple of the Most High, and their faces toward the east, and they worshipped the sun toward the east. Verse 17, then he said unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? Is it a light thing to the house of Judah that they commit the abominations which they commit here? For they have filled the land with violence, and have returned to provoke me to anger, and lo, they put the branch to their nose. Verse 18, therefore will I also deal in fury, mine eyes shall not spare, neither will I have pity. And though they cry in mine ears with a loud voice, yet I will not hear them. So many things are going on here, but the temple is corrupted in such a disgusting manner that the Most High is not having pity nor hearing the prayers of the saints, the Israelites. And as we return to the Most High, we need to be aware that this vision going on here also serves as a metaphor for our own bodies. Psalm 79:1. O Yahawah, the heathen are come into thine inheritance. Thy holy temple have they defiled. They have laid Jerusalem on heaps. So we know that the Most High commanded us to be separate from the heathen. But when we violate that commandment and we keep company with the heathen, whether it's physically keeping company with them or taking on their customs, their food, their philosophies, their forms of entertainment, their music, anything from the heathen defiles and corrupts the nation of Israel. The temple was corrupted through taking on customs of the heathen. That's what we read about in Ezekiel, including the worship of Tammuz, or worshiping the creation rather than the creator, the sun, for example. That's how we turn our own temple, our bodies, into that disgusting abomination that the Most High wants nothing to do with. Let me start at Acts 21:26. Then Paul took the men, and the next day, purifying himself with them, entered into the temple to signify the accomplishment of the days of purification, until that an offering should be offered for every one of them. So again, this idea of purification of ourselves, our bodies, the temple, and making sacrifices after that purification process. Acts 21:27. And when the 7 days were almost ended, the Jews which were of Asia, when they saw him in the temple, stirred up all the people and laid hands on him, crying out, Men of Israel, help! This is the man that teacheth all men everywhere against the people and the law and this place, and further brought Greeks also into the temple, and hath polluted this holy place. Now, we know that, of course, the men laying hands on Paul are wicked. However, it serves to reinforce this concept of how the temple, in this case the physical temple itself, is defiled. Of course, it wasn't being defiled by Paul, but they cite additional ways in which it can be defiled. Again, as we saw before, bringing heathen in, although in this case, these Greeks are actually Hellenized Israelites. That Hellenization process is spoken of in the book of First Maccabees, I believe, when under Antiochus Epiphanes, we were forced to take on Grecian customs. And according to our law, if Israelites forsake our own heritage and customs, we are to be cast out as the heathen. So this Greeks here, it's not talking about actual heathen, but Israelites that took on heathen customs and were cast out according to the law. Let me go to Matthew. Matthew 21:12. And Yahawashi went into the temple of the Most High, and cast out all them that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers, and the seats of them that sold doves. and said unto them, It is written, My house shall be called the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves. So here we see that the Messiah accomplishing a similar process that we read about in 2nd Chronicles, where as he is bringing the nation of Israel back into repentance, back closer to the Most High, he himself goes in and physically cleans out the temple by casting out all of those who were using it as a place of business, selling all manner of merchandise, and turning it into an abomination, essentially. So this physical cleansing of the temple is a concept that repeatedly comes up in the scriptures of the actual temple itself. And through the manifold wisdom and creation of the Most High, this same cleansing process we must accomplish inside of our own bodies. And here is why I stress this is so important. 1 Peter 2:5, Ye also as lively stones are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to the Most High by Yahawashi. So we are the third temple coming together. We, as the 144,000, are offering up spiritual sacrifices, offering prayers, making our bodies a living sacrifice as the altar by which we please the Most High and send up sweet smelling savor. So he is this probably isn't the best. So he is motivated to come down and restore us back to our rightful place and heritage. Matthew 23:25, Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess. Thou blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness. Matthew 23:28, Even so ye also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within ye are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. And again, I'm going to approach this in a very carnal sense. We may look fine and healthy on the outside, but inside our bodies are filled with rot. They're filled with all sorts of abominable creeping things, worms, parasites, general toxins, and filth. These are the carnal manifestations of sin. And in a nutshell, one way through which that process happens is when we are sinning, it's turning our thoughts wicked, and wicked thoughts produce and yield chemical reactions, yield emotions, which are chemical reactions in our brain that generate conditions that are beneficial for parasites so that they can grow and expand and thrive